Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. 5-2 is the scoreline today for Fiorentina, as you can see in the title, and I'm sure a lot of you guys already know. One of Napoli's worst defeats in recent years in terms of scoreline, that's for sure. However, it did happen over the course of 120 minutes. That's because somehow this Napoli team, when they were 9 against 10, managed to grab a goal with Petagna on the 95th minute to bring it to extra time, 2-2, and then with 9 men, we conceded 3 goals. And that's because the 2 players that got sent off were the 2 players that came on in the second half, Lozano and Fabian, which meant that Napoli basically were playing with the majority of players that had played the full game in extra time, whereas Fiorentina had an extra man and fresher players as well, which is unfortunate, but honestly, I'm glad that we're out of this Coppa Italia. I think we need to be focusing on the Europa League and the Serie A. In fact, I'm a little bit upset at Spalletti for having even put such a strong formation out, to be honest. I don't think it was the right thing to do, and having played 120 minutes was ridiculous. I think, obviously losing is horrible, but wouldn't it have been better to lose 2-1 in 90 minutes instead of scoring on the 95th minute, the 2-2, and then losing 5-2 and playing an extra 30 minutes? I mean, we set ourselves up so badly. It's ridiculous. And yeah, we should have put the game if we wanted to go through in this game, we should have done it when we were a man up. It didn't happen though. Let's go look at the comments, guys. I'm drained for energy, to be honest. But yeah, let's go look at the comments. Anthony Navarro says the only reason I'm upset is because we lost against 10 men. Lusty OG is saying I only watched the first half. WTF, did I miss a lot? You missed a lot. Barone04 saying I'm just happy our wardrobe scored again. Petagna is the most informed striker in the world right now. My man Petagna never gives up. 95th minute goal. This hurts, of course. Our focus isn't the Coppa, but wasting energy is just so unnecessary, says Sufos Koba. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Dom, you should start live early, bro. Game over, LOL, says Daniel Bowen. Anthony Navarro says it only hurts because of wasted energy. I think a lot of us feel that way. It's a waste of energy to have played that extra 30 minutes, and it worsened the scoreline significantly compared to losing the game 2-1 in 90 minutes. I can't stand the Coppa Italia, to be honest, says Daniel. For me, it's a waste of time unless subs actually get a lot of minutes. Used to be worth it, not anymore. When Scudetto, Champions League, Europa League are so much more important. I think Daniel sums it up perfectly over there. The Coppa Italia should be used as a platform to showcase the reserve players, to showcase the youth, because it really did lose a lot of importance. There's not much money that's gained out of it. There's not much prestige that's gained out of it. You get access to the Europa League, which is honestly something that Napoli is guaranteed at this point, finishing in the top 6. So there's really no point in winning this trophy that Napoli has won recently. They won it in 2020, so it's not something that we're missing. I think if you haven't won it in a while, a team like Fiorentina, a team like Atalanta, even Inter, they would be looking at this competition and saying, you know what, we haven't won this in a while, time to update our trophy cabinet. But for Napoli, we've got much more important trophies to win that we haven't won in a while. So I am disappointed that we didn't do it the way that Daniel proposes, which is just to put on the reserves at this point, honestly. I understand not wanting to lose badly and not putting like a bunch of 16-year-olds, but I think a further balance could have been found. Aaron M. We recently won the Coppa, so I'm not too bothered, honestly. Nicholas Wilger saying that game drained my energy. Yeah, exactly. I'm so drained. My eyes, look at my eyes. It looks like I haven't slept, guys. It looks like I haven't slept in 5 days or something, and that's not true. But this game like just drained my energy, and I had a coffee half an hour ago because I knew I was gonna go live, and I was so drained, and it's done nothing to me. So yeah, it's just horrible when Napoli loses. Nicholas Wilger say, nothing against Dom, but I hope this isn't a super long live stream. Not much to discuss. I think there is stuff to discuss. Come on, man. There definitely is. Napoli falling apart, says Michael Champ. A lot of you guys are extremely upset. ID Beat saying, I said it before the game, we'll say it after. Spalletti got it completely wrong by putting so much importance into this. Should have played 3-4 starters at most and played the Primavera. Yeah, I mean, as long as we put up a squad that wouldn't lose by more than 2 goals, I think people would have understood that decision. I think this is the worst possible scenario where we put on the best 11, then we get 2 red cards on the players that came on fresh in the second half, so that our starting 11 has to play the full 120 minutes, and we lose 5-2, which is by a 3-goal margin. That is by far the worst case thing that could have possibly happened to Napoli, and it happened. I mean, we might as well have done it in a completely different way and saved a lot of energy. Alex Tuanzebe is really bad, says Anthony Navarro. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be said about Alex's performance. Lorenzo Libutti says, who cares, we out of the gulag. Yeah, Lorenzo knows something that some of you guys don't know, which I will tell you in a few months maybe. But yeah, not the worst day on a personal level. Alex Tuanzebe is really bad, says Anthony Navarro. Yeah, I already read that. Hi Dom, you can call me Lekgos, says Lekgos, but in Chinese. I think that's Chinese. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Lekgos. So Lekgos says, Alex Tuanzebe haven't really shown anything special yet. I think actually he made a few mistakes. So let's go straight into the analysis of the game, because I think a few players made some mistakes. So let's start off with Elmas getting the ball here. He's through on goal at the start of the game, and he decides to favor his right foot and go wide. What he should have done in this case is cut across the defender. You want, when you're running, let's say more or less parallel with the defender, but you're slightly ahead, you want to use that early advantage to come across the defender. That way, you cut his path, he has to slow down, or else he trips you and it's a red card. You have to slow him down. Instead, Elmas continuing along his path means that the defender can continue his parallel run. And because he's going in that direction, he's goal side now of the keeper, and that's what happened. He managed, by being parallel with Elmas, and Elmas dragging himself wide, the angle wasn't great, and the defender put himself goal side of Elmas, which is why Elmas should have cut across, but instead, as I explained, Elmas went wide. So Elmas made, I guess, a fundamental mistake over there. So yeah, it's just, so I mean, I don't want to say that I'm better than these players, or I have a better decision making than these players, because obviously that's not true. I'm just a guy talking about what real players are doing. But I mean, come on, Elmas, this was a fundamental mistake. I expected better from him here. Then about how we defend. So Vlahovic had this early shot in the first half around the 11th, 12th minute mark, and I was upset to see Axel Tuanzebe's tendency, especially in the first half, to always back off and just allow pressure to come towards him. So, I mean, obviously Amrabat is making a run, so you want to cover that run, so you don't want to commit too hard, but it shouldn't take... That run by Amrabat shouldn't take both Di Lorenzo and Axel Tuanzebe, it with him. It should only be one of them that follows Amrabat, and then the other person has to go tighter on Vlahovic, because you can't give Vlahovic that much space. Let's go read some of the comments while I go on with the analysis. Lozano's not even capable of controlling a slow pass. Bro needs to lead. There's nothing to do about him. Yeah, his control is something that needs to be improved. And for a lot of you guys that are saying, oh, but Lozano scored 20 million goals in the Dutch league. Yeah, it's in a league where you have time. You have 2-3 seconds to control the ball. You can get away with a bad touch. You can't get away with that in Italy. So I'm sure that Lozano is able to score once he's through on goal, but step one is control the ball within a second. If you can't do that, then whatever you do later down the line doesn't matter. So that's my view on Lozano. He does need, if he improves that, then he's capable of taking that ball and scoring. It's just that if he doesn't have a good touch and defenders come to him, then he's screwed. Who played this pass to Elmas? I missed it. I think it was Mertens that might have played it. So yeah. So let's move on with the analysis. Whoops. Let's move on with the analysis. As I said, guys, we had a situation where Axel Tuanzebe and Di Lorenzo and Rahmani were tracking back, and you can see here Di Lorenzo has his hand out to point to Amrabat and is telling Axel Tuanzebe to move out in front of him. So, don't back up with us. We're tracking Vlahovic's run, but Axel, you've got to go and you've got to put pressure on Amrabat. Axel Tuanzebe realizes that a split second later, so you can see him stepping out of the line compared to Di Lorenzo and Rahmani. I actually don't like Rahmani's positioning here because he's keeping Vlahovic on side. I think Rahmani needs to be aware of Di Lorenzo stopping on the line and trying to play the offside towards Vlahovic. But, at least Axel steps out. However, once he steps out, he gets dummied by Amrabat. And, Amrabat, luckily, his shot gets deflected by Rahmani. But Axel needs to do a better job at getting his positioning right in the first place. And then also, he needs to do a better job at that when players are one-on-one against him. It kind of was like hit and miss today. He got a few and then he got done a few times. ID Beats is saying, I seriously think that we can get top 4 with Spalletti and relieve him of his duties. He's the cycle of starting well and then his teams fall off. Don't think we're going to win trophies under him. ID Beats, I think that's a bit unfair on Spalletti. Spalletti was doing an amazing job until injuries. I think any team would have struggled with these injuries. You have to realize that the players that are playing against Fiorentina today have been playing a phenomenal amount of games in a row. And it's also very difficult to train this team when so many players are missing. So I'm not going to judge Spalletti at all for everything that's happened since November. I think now that players are starting to come back at the end of January, then let's judge him one more time. But when the team was at full capacity, he was doing an amazing job. But let's continue with the analysis of the game and just where Napoli got a few things wrong. So Napoli, here's a corner that Fiorentina hit the crossbar with. So you can imagine, things could have been even worse for Napoli. They hit the crossbar, and you have to realize that Napoli mark zonally, and we had Demme and Lobotka on Vlahovic and the two Fiorentina center backs, which is just a ridiculous photo of showing the height difference between the players that Napoli were marking and Fiorentina. And okay, I mean, it's a choice that we make. It's zonal marking. It's just that when the ball then reaches those players, you have to be quicker to it. If you're a bit slow, then you're not able to put pressure on the Fiorentina players. So you have to, when you're marking zonal, you have to realize very, very quickly, as soon as the ball is played, that actually you're in the wrong zone and that you have to go wide. And okay, the nice thing about zonal marking is that if Fiorentina are going to get their heads on it, at least it's going to be a few meters away from goal. But still, they managed to hit the crossbar here. So maybe something needs to be done with how Napoli defends set pieces. But yeah, in the first 30 minutes, Napoli was playing really, really badly. And this is, Spalletti's reaction to all of this. I think his face says it all. And Fiorentina just seemed like they wanted it more. They had more energy, they had more aggression, and we were constantly outnumbered by Fiorentina. I mean, this is still when it was 11 against 11. And, they had always a 3 against 2 situation, a 2 against 1 situation against us. But even when they went 10v11, when they had one man less, it just felt like Fiorentina still had that numerical advantage over us, even though it was us that had an extra player. And then obviously when it was 10 against 9 eventually in Fiorentina's favor, then that was like them having 10 extra players. Politano could have done better here. I think there's I think he needs to do better here. I know it's his right foot, but this went miles away from the goal, and he needs to be less wasteful. And also, you can see on the bottom right that my computer was running out of battery, which is I wish it did. Honestly, at this point, my eyes had not yet been contaminated with the next hour of Napoli's performance, and I just wish my computer had died and I was not able to resuscitate it, and that I wouldn't have seen the next hour. But unfortunately I saw it, and so I have to comment on it. Anyways, this was Fiorentina's goal, right? I mean, look how far. So Amrabat passes it to Vlahovic, literally like the only 2 players that play for Fiorentina. He passes it to Vlahovic, but look how far Axel Tuanzebe is from Vlahovic. It's just too much. And then he makes the wrong choice. When Vlahovic receives the ball, he's got 3 choices really. He either stays in the exact same position he is, or he goes into he makes a run towards option 1 or a run towards option 2. What he does is option 1, which is he gets closer to Vlahovic, but he stays basically marking Vlahovic's right foot. So, I mean, yeah, he tries to stay goal side, but kind of behind him. Whereas really the decision that he should be making is number 2, which is moving up, but very slightly, so that you don't get crossed over like he did later. But also you remain facing Vlahovic's left foot, which is the danger one. He doesn't do that. He chooses option number 1 here, and Vlahovic spins him, and Vlahovic scores. And Axel is not a bad defender, I don't think. I think he's got potential to improve, but these are inexperienced mistakes which have cost us, and that was already his 3rd mistake of the game. And I don't want to be too harsh because it's his debut, so even in his player ratings, I wasn't too hard on the defense. But he needs to understand these little things, that in the Serie A they're super important, super important, unlike other leagues. Daniel Bowen with the €10 donation. Man, even though we lost, still supporting the channel. Thank you so much, my man. Do you think this match will make a difference in mental or physical preparation for Bologna? I think mental, there's some positives that actually Napoli can take away from this, which is that we were a man down and still managed to bring the game back to 2-2 at the end in the 95th minute. I think that says a lot about our mentality. But physically, wow, this game is going to have an effect on Napoli, not just against Bologna, but for the next few weeks. I think there's going to be a whole, knock-on effect in terms of how this could affect Napoli, and I just hope that we don't see any more injuries because of this. Vincenzo Bertillo is saying, looked like we were in a preseason friendly first half. Yeah, it was a really bad performance. I mean, if you're going to put the starting team and then not fire them up, what's the point? Just put the Primavera, as so many other people said. Looks like Tuanzebe is absolute abysmal, says Dominic M. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to... Look, he did do other things which were good in the game. It was a very much hit and miss game. It's just like when he messes up, then there's more replays of it, so I can grab more photos of it. And, it happened to be that he messed up and Fiorentina scored. But, I mean, it's his first game. I don't want to destroy the kid. I mean, he's not a kid, he's 24, but I mean, I don't want to destroy him on his first game. We did that with Rahmani. I destroyed him against Udinese last season in his first game in Napoli's defense. And then he turned out to be a really, really good defender. So I'm holding judgment. I'm highlighting where he messed up, but I'm holding judgment about, saying he's abysmal or anything like that. As Bryden is saying in the comments now, Rahmani's debut was way worse. Yeah, it was. He single-handedly destroyed us in that game, Rahmani. This is how Napoli scored the first goal. I mean, Fiorentina kind of did this to themselves. Dragoschi passes the ball straight to Politano. Politano gives it to Petagna. There's a bit of a melee in the box, and then Dries Mertens, with an absolute worldie, curls it in far post. I don't know how this guy does it, but yeah, just a fantastic goal from Dries Mertens to curl that in. And then Dries Mertens again involved in Napoli's, not a goal, but in Dragoschi's red card. So Mertens in a very deep position, a long ball towards Elmas. The defender gets there first because the ball wasn't that accurate, but he puts it one way. Dragoschi's coming, rushing back the other. Lack of communication and accuracy, and Dragoschi brings down Elmas, and it's a clear red card with a free kick that Napoli don't take advantage of. But in the second half, Fiorentina have a free kick from a very similar position, which they do take advantage of. Biraghi strikes against the wall, and then again he strikes against the wall. It rebounds, and then he scores, curling it into the second post. And honestly, Meret could have done better. I mean, I know that there's a lot of bodies in there, so maybe he saw it late, but it was a soft shot from outside the box. I think Ospina would have reached it. The one thing I would like to say is, look at the quantity of Napoli players in the box. I think for set pieces, there should be someone closer to the ball in case there's a rebound. I don't know if you're allowed to stand. I don't know what the rule is about standing behind the ball. Obviously, not interfering with the players, but are you allowed to be slightly closer if you're behind the ball? That way, if there's a rebound, you can grab it much easier. I don't know how that is. Or is it, a complete circle that you have to avoid? Either way, Napoli don't get the rebound, and the rebound goes to Biraghi, and Meret should have done a lot better. Giannis is saying ADL renew Mertens. Yeah, I think he will get renewed. It's just, guys, I've said it on Twitter, so if you guys are not following my Twitter, follow Napoli Talk. If you don't have Twitter, make a Twitter so that you follow Napoli Talk. You get my opinions about Napoli pretty much every day. And I said that basically ADL will renew Mertens, in my opinion, just like he did 2 years ago around May. That's because he just wants to make sure that Mertens is still physically in a good condition in May before he puts pen on paper. Because imagine Mertens gets a really bad injury, let's say in March, but we've already renewed him for 2 years, and then he doesn't really recover from that injury because he's 35. So I think Adiele is just playing it safe and just saying, look, let's do these next few months. If you're in a good physical condition, then I'm okay to renew you. Obviously, Mertens would have to accept a pay cut because I don't think Adiele is going to renew him for 4 million like he earns now, or 4.5, but I think something along the lines of 2.5 million. So yeah, I mean, I think Mertens wants to stay. I think we all want him to stay, to be honest. Then second half. So I mean, Fiorentina have scored that 2-1 with Biraghi. Lozano comes on, and I was making this edit just as Lozano was about to get sent off. So I typed in, Lozano with the spark. I was like, here we go. Lozano, he's back. He hits the post. He dribbles a few people, and then that happens. literally like 4 minutes later, as I was making that little thing. Lozano, my man, what are you doing? What are you doing? And this is all because he was trying to control the ball, and this is how this guy tries to control the ball. The ball's like 3 meters away from where his foot is, guys. He's not got that... I don't know what to call it. I don't even know what you call that, but there's just no subtlety in what he does. Everything that Lozano does, there's nothing subtle about it, you know? And that's not necessarily always a bad thing. I mean, sometimes, you know, that could be a good thing. For example, his shot before, you know, that was power. There's nothing subtle about it. His dribbling was with purpose. It was, you know, running at people, very direct. But sometimes, man, you've got to bring it down a notch. You can't be 110% all the time. Vincenzo's saying bad luck, Chucky. I don't think that's bad luck, honestly. This is just a guy that doesn't think. And unfortunately, there needs to be an element of that when you play football. And, you know, you need to also be able to, like, calm it down. And you're one man ahead of Fiorentina. You need a goal to score. You just can't be making those kind of tackles, is my opinion. Just a bit rash. Just needs to be more subtle. But it's a good thing that this doesn't affect the Serie A, so we don't have to necessarily be without Fabian and Lozano in the next game. Brash is the word you may be looking for, says ID Beats. I don't know, because I don't know that word. Let me Google brash. So brash, according to the Oxford Dictionary, self-assertive in a rude, noisy, or overbearing way, or having an ostentatious or tasteless appearance. It'd be nice if I knew what ostentatious means. Why does Oxford Dictionary think I know what ostentatious means if I don't know what brash means? That's why. How would I know that? But I think we're on the right path. I think we're getting there. Yeah, but for me, yeah, this is a clear red card. And I mean, you can see Napoli were shocked with that, but I mean, it's a clear red. And then Fabian gets a red as well. I mean, his first red was because he said something about he said something to the ref, got a yellow card, then does this foul, gets another yellow card, and we get 6 minutes added on, and somehow this happens. Malquit, who, you know, came on and did a decent job. Malquit comes on. We put people in the box. This ball goes through all those guys. Mertens is on the ground, and Petagna scores. And that seems to be the winning tactic. Mertens falling, Petagna scoring. I think, you know, that's just something that we work on in the training ground. It happened against Sampdoria. So, yeah, I think this is just what we train nowadays. Just Mertens causing a scene in the box, and then yeah. By the way, guys, if you are liking the video, do smash the like button. There's more than 35 of you watching this live right now. There's going to be hundreds of you watching this in playback. Please smash a like button if you are watching this. And yeah, because we do a bit of everything. We do a bit of English lesson. We try to figure out what the word brash means. And we do tactical and technical analysis of Napoli as if this was some Sky Sports studio. But no, it's just me on MS Paint. But I hope you guys like it, and it is a bit of an entertainment. So guys, get those likes up. It helps the channel. I know Napoli lost. You're not liking the fact that Napoli lost. You're just liking the fact that Napoli lost, and I still bothered to do this and put in this effort, which is more than half the Napoli team did today. Anyways, Cioffi manages to get 30 minutes of game time, which is unreal. You know, he spiked up his game time for Napoli massively today. And yeah, this was a situation where Napoli could have won the game. It was a counterattack, 3-against-1 pretty much, or 2-against-1. And then you just need a bit of calmness here. You just need a bit of accuracy, which he doesn't have, or didn't show. And it sucks because I'm a big fan of letting the youth play, but needs to do better. And I just don't get these kind of things. Like, I really don't understand how, even if you're young, a youth player, 19, like, how do you mess up a pass that badly? I mean, it was a really long pass, you know, and it's... I honestly don't understand how some people make it to professional football. And I'm not criticizing Cioffi necessarily just for this, like, but you'd think, like, a simple pass, just pressing triangle like you do on FIFA, through ball, shouldn't be that hard. Like, this was not complicated. Oh, man. I need to go easy with the criticism because people will think I hate these guys. But Osimhen would still get to that, says Vincenzo Bertillo. Yeah, 100%. ID Beats and I forgot what I should call you. Remind me. Are saying, do you have a pet? No, I don't have a pet. I barely am able to keep some plants alive. I have some fake plants over there next to my mask and Maradona thing. I have 2 real plants and I really struggle to keep them alive. Like, really, really, really struggle. I'm always rushing to feed them. I was rushing to give them water after I've ignored them for 10 days and pretty much dying, drying up. And I'm just oh, here you go. And then they survive for the next 10 days and then the thing repeats itself. So no, I don't have a pet. I would kill that thing accidentally very quickly. Although I have been trusted before with dogs and stuff for a few hours and I did a good job. Yeah, maybe if it's alive and it makes noises and moves, maybe I'll remember to feed it and stuff like that. Otherwise, yeah, it's a risk. It is a risk. I hope I can take care of things that breathe at some point. It's a good skill to have in my life, but my plants, poor plants. Yeah. Anyways, this was how we set up in the second half. I'm just sad thinking about my plants, to be honest, just how I mistreat them. It's just kind of sad right now. Anyways, this is how Napoli set up in the second half while it was still 2-2. We had Di Lorenzo do literally every position on the field. He started right back, then moved to left back before Juan Jesus came on. Then Juan Jesus came on and Di Lorenzo moved to center defensive mid. So we're playing a 4-3-1. And I think, here we were sitting quite deep. At some point, it became a 4-4-0 with basically Mertens going left wing. And we had no one up top and Fiorentina just putting the pressure on us. And it was inevitable that Fiorentina were getting chances. This was a double save by Meret, which was a decent double save, even though an offside was given. I think what I like is that he reacted really well to the second shot and actually got off his line to do that. He didn't stay planted on his line. We need to see more of that from Meret. He needs to understand that he needs to come off his line. That's one of his biggest weaknesses. I mean, this was given as an offside in the end. There was an offside somewhere in this, but it's good that Meret showed some level of being alive. So, yeah, Tom, a.k.a. Plant Daddy. The choices of Spalletti from the start was not good. We lose this game just because of bad choices from Spalletti. It's just Sonic Multiverse. Yeah, I mean, he put a competitive squad up. So we didn't lose because of that. Our starting 11 should have not lost this game. So, yeah, I mean, we lost because the two players that we put on in the second half both got a red card, so all our starters had to play 120 minutes, even though they were already super, super tired to just start the game with. Domenico getting all clouded up when he remembered the domestic violence he did to his plants. Guys, I'm sensitive. Don't make me get all emotional about the plants. I actually do feel sorry for them. They've been through a lot. I managed to get Axel Tuanzebe doing some nice things as well, just so that you guys don't think I hate him. I actually want this guy to do well. But he did a really good double block, which is good. Found himself in the right position, reacted well. More of this, and he'll do well. Dominic M is saying, wait, did you do the ratings yet? No, not yet. I usually tend to do the analysis of the game first and then the ratings, just so that you guys have an understanding of why I did the ratings, because obviously in the analysis of the game you can see like who messed up where and who did well where. And then this is Fiorentina getting the third goal. Nothing we could have really done there. We just don't have enough men to mark. So we get found out in the far post. They score. Meret could have done better, but honestly, like I feel like we would have conceded sooner or later anyways. Then in the second half of extra time, we push men forward. We've only got 3 at the back. The team is stretched out. They find a really good pass in between our midfield of Cioffi and Elmas, which is a pretty hilarious midfield. Then they, do a bit of tiki-taka on us and score a goal with Piontek. Piontek, I think, is a good striker, honestly. I think he has the potential to be really good. He had a really, really good first year at Genoa and the first 6 months at Milan, and then something happened with that guy. But that 1 year and a half that he was fantastic. So I think Fiorentina did really well to buy Piontek. I think he'll do a good job, honestly, if he's in the right environment. Maybe less pressure because Vlahovic is the main man. I don't know. What names have you given the plants? Little Lavezzi and Little Hamsik. I think I would like cry every day if they were called Lavezzi and Hamsik, just thinking about the good times. So I would never do that to myself. Brian Sonta Kempire is saying, how did Tuanzebe play? Rewind the live about 20 minutes and you will see my whole analysis of Tuanzebe's performance. Here is Fiorentina's 5th goal. Tuanzebe, at this point has to make a decision about whether he goes and stays on the line or gets a bit closer to the guy carrying the ball. He hesitates, goes a bit closer to the guy with the ball, and then, they find the corridor anyways to him. Malqui tries to cover, but Meret gets megged, and Fiorentina score the 5th goal, and that's it. So, player ratings. I had to make the guys in the sub a bit smaller this time, on the bench a bit smaller, because we've got 6 subs in this game because of the extra time thing involved. So let me start off with the guys that I think did well, had a good game. I am going to give a 6.5 to Mertens for his goal and contribution. Petagna as well, his goal. And remember, he contributed to Mertens' first goal. He didn't get a lot of good service. I'm being nice with the 6.5 to Petagna, but he did score a goal and kind of assisted Mertens. So, don't hate me. Mertens 6.5 because, world-class goal. Kind of involved in Petagna's second, but then, and I guess involved in the red card from Drakowski. Maybe he deserves a 7, or maybe 6.5 is right and everybody else deserves half a point less. But Di Lorenzo did amazing. Di Lorenzo played right back, left back, center defensive mid. You can always count on this guy to have an above average performance, which is really nice. The other guys, I think, the other starting players, I think I'm going to give them all a 6. I know I said Tuanzebe made a few mistakes, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. In case he watches this game, remember he's English, so this is an English-speaking channel. In case he watches this, I don't want him to feel bad. First game getting a below average. So let's just say like average, because he did do some things well. He did do a few good interventions. His passing was good. I don't want to destroy this kid. All right, I know this is maybe not what he deserves. I know, but this is just, I want it on the records, not for him to be destroyed on his debut. I'm being soft, okay? I know, I get it. I'm being really soft. Ospina at 6 because I think he could have done better on the goal that he conceded, but then he did do some good saves, so kind of like averages out. Let's get to Spalletti, 5 for having wasted so much energy on, or having put a starting 11, which is a competitive starting 11. They wasted a lot of energy and didn't get a result. 4.5 to Meret because he came on in the second half and conceded 4 goals. That's about how many goals Ospina concedes in about 5 decades. Meret is able to do that in an hour. So 4.5 to Meret. 4 and 4 to Fabian and Lozano because of the red cards. Just stupid. I don't care what you've done before. I don't care that you hit the post, Lozano. To do that tackle is bad. And it's just, I have to give a 4. It really penalized us. It really, really penalized us. It's not so much, he got a red card. It's like we could have tied the game, potentially won it if that red card didn't happen. But they got the red cards, and then your teammates have to work that much harder for you in a situation where it's already quite difficult. Anthony Navarro says, told y'all 4 for players with red. He knows me. But you destroyed Rahmani and look at him now. Yeah, that's what I don't want to repeat. I don't want to destroy Axel. I think give him some time and let's see what he does. I think he did show glimpses of stuff that was good. Let's see. If you had to make a Napoli 11 from 2010 to 2021, who would your 3 attackers be? Oh man, that's potentially a whole other video. So I'll save my answer for that. I think the 4.5 is fair for Meret. He's not a kid anymore. We paid the big bucks for him. Yes, 30 million for a goalkeeper. We paid a lot. Thankfully, his salary is not very high, or maybe that's a problem. Because if his salary was like 3 million, then maybe Napoli would have been like, okay, yeah, he's not worth this, we need to sell him. But because he's getting paid peanuts, I think Napoli might want to keep him. But yeah, something happened with Meret. This guy was phenomenal under the first 6 months of Ancelotti, and then went downhill after that. But the first 6 months from Ancelotti were great. Best 3 attackers from that time period have been Mertens, Cavani, and Higuain. The player, not the man. Yep, you have to go with that. Even though you would have to put Cavani. Well, it depends what formation you play. You would have to play a 4-3-1-2 with Mertens behind them and Cavani, Higuain up top. I think that would be an absolute unreal attack. All 3 of them at their prime. It would just be bonkers, man. Meret is the Daniele Rugani of goalkeepers. I don't even think Rugani's that bad. I honestly don't think Rugani's bad. I don't think he's a very good defender, but he gets a lot of criticism, and I don't think that's necessarily fair on Rugani. I don't think he's that bad, but I don't know. SJ saying, who starts the next league game after the shocker today, Jesus or Tuanzebe? It has to be Jesus. That's why he got rested today. I think Tuanzebe is definitely the 4th choice at the moment, and he will get his chances for sure, but I'd go easy on giving him another 90 minutes right now. So yeah. let's see. Meaning they were tutored to be great and then regressed and are behind the vets, says Vincenzo Bertillo. Yeah, that's true. That is definitely something that we can agree on, guys. Now, looking at the Coppa Italia, we've got Fiorentina, Atalanta that progress, and that's kind of a good thing if you think about it, because we have a busy schedule. If we take a look at the fixture list, that Fiorentina-Atalanta game would have been, or if we had won, it would have been Napoli-Atalanta. It would have been on the 9th of February, I believe. I might be wrong, but it would have been right before Inter. And then, we've got a super busy period after Venezia. So I think against Bologna, Salernitana, and Venezia, we need to get three points from each of those games. And then after that, we've got a super busy period, starting off with Inter and Barcelona, the first leg. I think having Atalanta there would have been just too much for Napoli. I think we would have definitely, lost one of those 3 games at some point, because that's just too many important games. So I think it's, as I said, might as well lose now and say goodbye to the Coppa Italia and not have to play the next games. Then, for example, play against Atalanta, lose to them anyways, and then, that's more energy wasted, potentially more injuries, and then you might also then, as a consequence, lose against Inter or Barca because you didn't prepare those games as well. So there are positives to take from actually getting knocked out today. Obviously, the way in which we did it, as I said at the start of the video, is what's really, really annoying. Also, someone's impersonating Tuanzebe on Twitter. I need to see that. Pranav Jain is saying, how can I expect a video from you, Dom, when part 3 of the Napoli tier list is due since like 6 months? I know, guys. I know. I haven't been amazing at posting videos outside of live reactions to games. And that's because over the last 12 months, 10 months, I've been super duper busy, like super busy. I work, and then at one point I was studying for one exam and I finished that. Then I did 4 months of a consultancy part-time on top of my normal work, and then after that I was studying for the GMAT, which I only finished in December, so that's another few months of exam studying. So now that that's done, I can concentrate on, maybe doing a few more videos or seeing your mom a bit more often. Whatever you want, Pranav. Either one works for me. I love both. So, yeah, I need to stop violating your mothers on this live. I will get cancelled 100%. I will need to make a Patreon so that in case I get cancelled by YouTube, because I just diss your mothers way too freely, just way too much. It's just easy targets, but yeah. Also because you can reply as much as you want, but I don't have to read it out, so then it's like I win the argument every single time. So yeah, anyways, going back to football, guys, these next 3 games, Bologna, Salernitana, and Venezia, we need to get 9 points out of them if we are to then go against Inter and feel like it's a title decider. We also need to watch out for Juventus, who are just 5 points behind. So, yeah. Oh, you guys are liking that on the chat. I can see the reactions. So, yeah. That's really what it is for Napoli in the next month or so. 3 on paper easy games, and then the hard stuff starts. So let's make sure we get a good buffer before then. Bro, someone needs to make an out of context Napoli Talk YouTube channel. I think there might be something on Twitter that's like Napoli Talk out of context. I saw it at one point, and yeah, I don't know if whoever is doing that is obviously watching my videos, and then I might do like a reaction to my own takes, my out of context takes. I might do a video like that at some point if it gains enough stuff. But yeah, I need to go easy on you guys. I love you, even though you criticized that I didn't do that video, but I will do it. I will get it done at some point. Anyways, guys, these are the stats of the game. I think Fiorentina deserves to win. I mean, more possession, more passes, more shots on target, same amount of corners. The only thing we had more are red cards, 2 against 1, and fouls, 23 against 12. But I mean, half of those fouls were BS. I mean, they were always on the ground, Fiorentina players. Pranav is saying, I'm not blaming you, Dom. These live streams are enough to make my day if Mertens gets a good rating. I was just spitting facts. Yeah, I know. I'm just joking with you as well. So let's go to the press conference of Spalletti. I do want to see what he has to say, and then we can wrap up this live stream, this very disappointing live stream. And guys, whoa, big news from Giuntoli. Drum roll, talking about Mertens' renewal, saying we will talk about it at the end of the season. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? They will talk about it at the end of the season.
Confidence that comes from a new haircut? It's perfect.
Ads. Wow, are they trying to say that I need a new haircut? These ads. But yeah, so Mertens renews. Well, no, don't take me out of context. They ask him, is Mertens renewing? Question mark, not Mertens renewing. It's Mertens renewing? Question mark. And Giuntoli responds, we have to think about the present. In the moment right now, in the present, we have a lot of absences, but the team is reacting well, and we go again, against Bologna. But at the end, we will talk about it. About other people to strengthen the squad, they said, look, we're complete in all the areas of the field. Gulam is getting some form back, and we let Manolas go, but we intervened immediately with Tuanzebe, and then we have to wait until people come back from COVID and the African Cup of Nations. Who would you take from Fiorentina? They asked Giuntoli. He says that's a great squad. The best that Fiorentina have is the coach, and obviously Vlahovic is an easy one. So yeah, it's interesting how he said the coach. I think that's unnecessary to say when obviously there's no issues with Spalletti at the moment, and there's just no reason to say the coach. I think if you say Vlahovic, I think that's just like a pretty standard response without having to throw shade on the coach, on our coach, by saying Italiano is, their best asset. So rookie mistake there from Giuntoli, in my opinion. Get the Petagna haircut, says Anthony Giampaolo. I could never pull off a Petagna haircut as well as Petagna. But yeah, he is my new idol this month. Let's see. No context Napoli talk is the page. Yeah, someone on Twitter put a no context Napoli talk. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to go. So let's see. Is there any press conference from Spalletti yet? Let's see. Ospina got injured, which is not good. He got injured on his calf, apparently. How do you do that? How do you injure your calf as a goalkeeper? There's not much movement as a goalkeeper. I honestly don't understand how goalkeepers get injured unless they get trampled on. It just shouldn't be the case. If outfield players had the fitness of goalkeepers, they would be all injured 10 times a game. Anthony Navarro says, Dom won't read my last comment. Yeah, I run Giovanni Di Lorenzo's Twitter. Anthony Navarro has a thing for Giovanni Di Lorenzo. I think that's quite obvious. Guys, there is no official press conference right now from Spalletti yet, so we're going to have to call that a day. I think, we got good words out of Giuntoli anyways about, how we'll talk about Mertens' renewal at the end of the season. He didn't say no. He didn't say anything, too scandalous. I think he said what I expected him to say, which is Mertens, they're going to talk about it at the end. They're going to see, are you still fit or not? And how are you performing? Because guys, you have to realize, when you're 35, like Mertens is, or turning 35, your fitness could drop like out of nowhere, because you're old, kind of, in football terms, not like real life old, but it could just drop out of nowhere. And so you want to just make sure that you sign a contract. If you're Napoli, you want to make sure you sign a contract at the last possible moment, so that you avoid a situation where you sign now and then in a month's time Mertens' form goes down and it never recovers. So, and it's also a way to keep Mertens motivated to keep performing, because you know how players can be about when they sign contracts. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Mertens, because he's very professional, but yeah, I mean, I think both parties know that they want the renewal, so there's no rush, and I think they've got other things to focus on right now. I think Napoli need to focus on, okay, who's going to replace Insigne, because I did mention, we've got Elmas and Lozano, but I think what we saw from them today was very, very poor. So they might look at like who's gonna do that, who's gonna replace them. They might look at other opportunities in the transfer market. They need to sell on possibly a few players. So I think they're focusing their energies on that. You have to remember, like, this is a team of people that need to put their heads together when they do contracts and all that. And if they've got other priorities at the moment, they will focus on those. When the transfer market's done, and maybe they've already identified a replacement for Insigne and all this sort of stuff, then they will focus on things like Mertens' renewal, which is like, there's really no rush, because Mertens is not in a rush to leave Napoli. I don't think he's going to entertain offers until he sits down with Napoli in the first place. Mario Rui tested negative on COVID, right? I haven't heard Mario Rui testing negative yet. I know Malquit and Meret did yesterday. Italiano Vincenzo destroyed us. Yeah, he's an unreal coach. Even against Spezia, even when he was with Spezia, he destroyed us at the San Paolo last year. We do not have a good time against Vincenzo Italiano, unfortunately. Bryden 507 is saying, not only today, our wingers have been awful this whole time. Elmas had a good game against Leicester, and that's it. Elmas had some other good games, and I thought he was showing potential, and he could still be like a really important player. It's just that the consistency is not there. It's very hit and miss. We need someone that's a bit more consistent to rely on. Insigne is a winger/playmaker hybrid, says Vincenzo. We need someone who brings that to the table, or we will lack direction in attack. Exactly. I think, like, ideally, the type of player that we get is someone like Isco. Obviously, Isco plays for Real Madrid, is way out of our league. The other type of player that I like is Dybala, just someone that can like play on the wing and then come forward and has creativity and has a good long-range shot, because I think sometimes Napoli lacks a bit of that, and I would love to see an Argentinian like Dybala for Napoli, but again, completely out of market with the salary that they have. Another type of player could be Antony from Ajax. Obviously, the salary is not too high, but he's a very different player from Insigne, much more skilled, much more direct approach, and we saw how difficult that can be in Italy compared to the Dutch league by, Lozano. So obviously Antony's touch is completely different, so he's not going to have the same problem as Lozano in that regard, potentially. So, different player, different case. But yeah, I mean, he's not got that playmaker thing. He's more of a dribbler, a skillster. So different player. It's going to be interesting who they choose. Yeah, maybe they go for someone who's more physical, bigger. Maybe they should have gone for Boga when they had the chance. Bring some centimeters into this team. Bring a bit of strength, a bit of power, because we are quite short and small in attack, and so maybe that could have been a bit of a change, And And Anthony is saying, I don't really know what Elmas's true position is. Yeah, I think he's been tested in so many different positions that he or we don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing not to have a position. It means you can kind of put him everywhere. It just might mean that he can never really be a starter because he needs to learn the position, right? I mean, as a starter, you want an expert on that position. It's good to have a player that can play everywhere, but that's the guy that you bring off the bench whenever there's the need. Or, the squad player that you start the game on when your starter is injured or needs a rest. You put this guy wherever and he's going to do a decent performance. But as a regular starter, you might need someone who's an expert. So, I did say how Elmas could be the replacement for Insigne in my last video, but this is always something that we can reflect on, and I'm okay to say, maybe I didn't fully analyze, Elmas replacing Insigne. We've got 6 months to find out. I'm sure Elmas will get more chances. I'm sure Napoli will take all these things into consideration and then make a decision. I don't think Napoli would have let go of Insigne if they didn't think they had as good of an option lined up. So either they rate Elmas very highly, Elmas and Lozano, or they have the capacity and the willingness to buy someone that they think, this guy's going to perform just as well. Otherwise, I don't see why Napoli would go backwards. It just doesn't make sense with what we're trying to do at Napoli, I don't think. I don't think you would do so much to buy Osimhen, keep Koulibaly, keep Fabian, all these sort of things, and then go down. I think, especially since we're kind of guaranteed Champions League football, I think that 60 million is going to be used for the left wing in large part, honestly. Let's see. Now Lang is great, but his attitude is absolutely horrible. I don't know much about Noah Lang. I said now. Mao Zedong. I don't know much about Noah Lang, but I'll have to look at more of his games. It's not a league that I follow. If it was someone from Italy, Spain, or England, I would have known a bit more, but don't know much about him, so we'll have to study a bit because he is being linked quite heavily with Napoli. Anyways, guys, somehow I've said Mao Zedong in my life. This is so random at times. Disappointment tonight with the game, with the result, with the energy wasted by Napoli, and obviously the scoreline, which will always say 5-2, even though it was 2-2 in 90 minutes. And Napoli showed heart to some degree, but we move on. We've luckily not got a game this weekend, but it's on Monday against Bologna, so we've got time to recover. And guys, until then, hope you guys have a great weekend, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre.